I suppose you wonder why I've called you all here together today. Um, uh, it's really a thrill to come back to Lima. And a little over a week ago, Mike Lackey called me on the phone down at Fort Myers, and I guess that Pat Smith had given him her copy of my book to read, and he read it, and he said he just wanted to corroborate things a little bit. Mike's a very careful researcher. He doesn't print everything that he sees until he's investigated it, and so he just wanted to chat and said, I give him 5 minutes? Well, 20 minutes later, we finally finished, and um, Mike was asking me a lot of questions about why I came back to Lima, and when I got out of medical school, why I had talked about becoming a radiologist and staying in Columbus and so forth, but came back here to intern at St. Rita's, and I told him that, well, you know, you can take you can take a boy out of the country, but can't take country out of the boy, and you can take a boy out of Lima, but you can't take Lima out of that boy. You know, uh, like I told Mike, I said, Lima has had a bad name. Lots of times it was called Lost in Middle America. And I said, Lima got knocked to the canvas, but Lima never failed to answer the bell for the next round. And I think they should change that to leading in America, not lost in America. So, with that, yeah, okay. Uh, I see you want me to get on with things.
When you're ready. When you're ready.
Okay. Uh, uh, Rob, uh, I do want to introduce Polly. She was my helpmate, and she's been my biggest booster. Stand up, Polly. And as you'll see, she is a great reader, and she used to read, punctuate, spell check, and cheerlead all at the same time. And then, of course, Rob, as you know, when I got a few of those things to him, he put me on a website, and so people have asked me about him, and I said, well, he's the ramrod behind this. Well, Bob didn't like that. He thought that sounded like he was prodding me. So I said, well, how about spearhead? He said he didn't like that either. So we finally settled on he's my expediter. And of course, Jean Engstrom is the sine qua non. She's just been great for us, and she has been one of my cheerleaders. And so uh, they, she's given us $1 million worth of publicity in the Lima News. And but then I also have with us, and I like them to stand up, Roberta and Charles Rodabaugh. They're sitting back there. Roberta is my country cousin. She used to refer to me as a city cousin. She was my Uncle Charlie and Aunt Lula's daughter, and she did many nice things for me, a few not so nice. I was in a bathing suit one time, and she took me down to the creek and didn't show me where the horse nettles were, and I got into the horse nettles. And if you've ever been in horse nettles, you'll never forget it. I tell you. So, but anyway, we've been commuting, and it was her father and her mother who taught me what little I know about farming, and I've been so glad for it. Now, over here on my right is my sister, Mary and Val Koskowski, and we have a signer, Mrs. Tana Holler, who is signing for them. They are graduates of the Ohio State School for the Deaf. Yeah, they've been married 57 years. So, Now then, we also, I have to preface this a little bit. I don't know how many of you here remember that Dr. Grannis and I started our office. We had a third guy, a Dr. Fox, who could only stand it for 3 years, and he went back to Philadelphia and took a radiology residency for hard work. And so we took a young fella in who had come from Huron Roads Hospital in Cleveland down to Memorial for a year's training. And he was a trained anesthesiologist, but he wanted to also do family medicine. And he, after his year at Memorial, we had a vacancy, and so Dr. Kendall O. Burns came with us. And he was really quite a good addition to our duet. He gave anesthetics, he made house calls, he saw patients in the office, he delivered babies, he did everything a family doctor should. Unfortunately, he was taken from us in a fatal accident almost a year to the day we hired him in with us, and he left a widow and 2 children, Dennis and Diane. Well, Dennis and Diane and Peggy Burns stayed in Lima, and they went to the school here, and Dennis went through Lima Senior, and he was in the Music Man, pacing up and down, saying they don't know the territory, they don't know the territory. And then Peg moved to Texas, and Dennis went to Baylor to pre-medical school, finished that, and then he went to Southwestern Medical School in Texas and finished that. And then he decided he didn't want to become a rat doctor, so he was going to be an internist until he was working someplace, and a guy who was on his way to radiation therapy for a lung cancer asked him if he had a light for his cigarette. I think right then Dennis decided that wasn't for him either. So Dennis became a neuropathologist, and he is now professor of neuropathology at Parkland Hospital in Dallas, Texas. Professor Burns, would you please stand up? There he is. Sit down, Dennis. You know, in medical school, I always wanted to tell a professor to sit down, but I never had the guts. So also, I want to mention, if anybody in this audience was a patient of Dr. Burns or knew Dr. Burns in any way, would they please seek Dennis out at the end of this program? He's hungering for information about his dad, and he would be eternally grateful for any information that you can give him. Now we have cut this a little short here. We got daughter Betsy. Where's Betsy? Oh, there she is. And her son, our grandson Jeff Fowler. They're from Upper Michigan, or north of Detroit, Shelby Township. Yeah. And I have Cindy Hamlin. Oh, there she is. Yeah, she's up from South Carolina. And is that got everybody now, Ron?
It's got Nancy.
Oh, yes. And our son Scott. Our son Scott here, doctor, and his wife Nancy Winters. You see, we were going to surprise Rob, and we're having a birthday party for him tonight, a premature birthday party, and he wasn't to know that Scott and Nancy were coming, and so we kept it from him and kept it from me too. So, well, now I've got to get down to my outline job here. I want to talk to you about what I learned from a boyhood chum. What's the matter? Okay. Is that all right? Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? You know, I have AIDS. I have hearing aids in both ears. You know, at our reservation down in Florida, they have what? At our reservation down in Florida, huh?